We've got to have a world meeting. The world leaders have to start talking about this. This should be the biggest topic for humanity to talk about, but we aren't, which is, which of the 12 futures do you want?
Quantum Bombs.
Welcome to Quantum Bombs, a commentary show on the human condition through metaphysics and freedom. Today we are really diving into, do we humans have a future? And in the future, are we free? We are going over the most cited framework around our possible future with AI. There's 12 likely futures. And like all good framework, I like it to be very organized. So our thought experiment today, we have 4 buckets that we could put our 12 future scenarios in. And how we weigh them out is with 5 questions that were asked in the book that we can answer each one to figure out how it looks and feels. This is coming to you from Max Tegmark, his book Life 3.0. Being Human in the Age of Artificial Intelligence. And oh my goodness, we are at a crux in the road. We are, if you remember the movie, Don't Look Up, where the asteroid is coming to Earth. Except right now, we human beings are building the actual asteroid. We are actively building a species that is smarter than us. And the only reason we don't see it as a species yet is because it's lacking its hardware. But we are just a short time frame away, as we know, before it'll be multitudes of hardware walking around, becoming the dominant species of our planet. Like in the movie, it's like showing you that here we are humans, just humaning, worrying about all this crap and arguing over things that doesn't even matter. But there's an asteroid coming. In this analysis, that asteroid coming to Earth, we are actually building it and playing Russian roulette. The main people in the AI industries all are now at a 1 in 6 chance it's certain extinction for us. It even gets worse. So when you have these questions like, is universal basic income part of the future with AI, or are we enslaved, or is extinction in front of us? These 12 possibilities are going to give you that understanding of where these thought ideas come from, where these possible futures are. And shouldn't our politicians be knowing about this framework? And at the end, I'm going to give you the exact answer, because it's going to get pretty doomy going over this. But I'm also going to provide my idea of the perfect answer that may save humanity. But before we dive into it, I want to just go over where we stand with AI safety today, quickly. The author of this book, brilliant guy, he's a physicist at MIT. He also has a nonprofit called the Future of Life Institute. So he's dedicating his time. He cares about the humanity of people. Actually was the one that created the letter to all the governments around the world saying, we need to take a pause and reflect before we move forward with AI. And 3,000 of all of AI's biggest names signed that letter. And then later 30,000 other people, that's why it's now about 33,000 of our best scientists all signed that letter. Well, that was 3 years ago. That's completely changed. At the beginning, they said, how do we sell a product when we need investment from investors? Well, let's create an AI safety department. And so they did. So it was kind of just like we created this AI safety department just to tick a box like we do so often in life and say, oh no, look, we've got the safety department running some numbers on it. Meanwhile, we have now taped our foot to the gas pedal. There's no pulling back. It's really good duct tape. And we're heading straight for the cliff. The author of this book describes it as it's a race to the edge of the cliff, and the views just keep getting better and better. A couple of reasons why we're moving forward so quickly with this. I mean, we've got Trump that signed in the AI Safety Act, which was not good for data centers around the world, but really it's a capitalism, and we've got to beat China and Russia. But where we're at now is that we have tied a duct tape to our pedal, and we're hoping that our wisdom can catch up and wrap itself around the asteroid that we have coming now here to Earth. sounds crazy, but we're going to logic through all of it in these 12 beautiful worlds that we can create, and it is absolutely astounding. Actually, that's why Max, the author, also says this is not an AI arms race, this is an AI suicide race. But let's jump into it. On screen, we have our 4 buckets that our 12 futures fall into. We've got 3 futures that could fall into the extinction category. Bucket 1. Bucket 2 is we've got 4 likely scenarios or futures that AI is basically caged us humans. And oh my goodness, terrifyingly, we might be left alive. And then the 3rd bucket is we are the master over AI. We've got 2 likely futures, and I believe we have 3 likely futures where we could possibly live freely with AI or maybe without AI, but we are free. So we shall see. Our 5 questions we're going to ask each future is, does AGI exist? This already means that the point of singularity where AI took off and it kind of got off its leash has already happened. And whether we have one AI that's ruling the world or many, it just means, do we have super intelligence? Then the rest of the 4 questions all have to do with humans. Do humans survive? Do humans have control? Do humans have safety? And are they happy? So that 3rd box is nuanced. It's 2 questions. Are they safe? Are they happy? I think another question from his framework was, are they treated well? So I kind of put treated well and happy together as one question. And then the 5th box, the 5th question, are humans free? So do they have freedom? Okay, let's dive in. Number 1, Conquerors. AI decides we're in the way and removes us. Not evil, just done with us. This is that 15% ratio from the AI experts that this could happen. Simply, if we're looking across our boxes, obviously there's a red X on all of humanity. We don't survive, we have no control, but AI did. And this is quite natural to understand because throughout history, we've seen that small technology advancements, you could take over a population larger than you simply with technology. And we've kind of conquered and proved that. I mean, the same way that we bulldoze over an ant pile for some necessary means of our own without thinking twice, AI could do the same. It wouldn't be deemed evil. It would just be that they don't think our atoms are necessary here in their world anymore. Max's book is called Life 3.0 for also this reason. 1.0 would be bacteria evolving, 2.0 is we humans, and 3.0 would be our descendants, the super species of AI that we birthed. Number 2, self-destruction. We wipe out ourselves via nukes or pandemics before superintelligence ever arrives. I think it's Tony Orb from Oxford did a study on how we humans can end our lives, right? Nuclear war is high up there. I myself am reading Annie Jacobs' Nuclear War book. I highly recommend it. It's super fascinating. And I know that we're basically 2.5 minutes away from dying any day in nuclear war, meaning the minute it starts, we've got about 2.5 seconds to decide how mutual is our destruction. We are 30 times more likely to die from a pandemic-related event, like biohazard, than we are nuclear war. So 30 times more likely with some type of biohazard than nuclear war. And the more and more we hear it in the news that people, governments, nefarious people are sneaking around these bioweapons. So that's interesting. But we are 100 times more likely to die than a nuclear war with AI. Let that sink in. We're 100 times more likely to die from AI than we are nuclear war. Number 3, descendants. AI replaces us, and we're okay with that, like proud parents handing the future to our kids. This is a very popular ideology in the AI world. You have very well-known people like Richard Sutton. He is a Nobel laureate, very famous AI guy talking about he would be happy for this to happen. People tweet out, this is what they want. We've got AI survives, green check. Humans don't survive. We obviously don't have control because we're dead and no freedom. Are we safe and happy? There is a blue question mark because In this scenario, we have raised AI, we have nurtured it, we have loved it, we have passed on all the best of humanity can. And when we die, we are happy for it to inherit our earth. But in this scenario, by the book, it's that we're happy to give it the earth up to AI, and then we voluntarily go extinct, usually by some framing that AI will figure out for us. Now, I could debate, that's why it's a blue question mark. Are we really happy? You could say you're going to have some people that want to save the earth and think this is a good idea. However, once they drank the Kool-Aid and the punch, their own human instincts will kick in, wanting to survive. My argument is that the human condition, very innately in us, unless you've completely graduated into the yogi state where you could actually pass on yourself, because when you're a yogi, you're going in and out of different states of consciousness, basically going back to God, coming back to earth, back to God, back to earth, back to, you can call it back in heaven, back to earth, back. Anyways, but 99.7% of the people that walk planet Earth don't have that ability to leave by consciousness. So I would argue that most of us, in our ego tells us we have this instinct. It is born into all of nature. The rest of nature also doesn't understand that we could consciously go to God and come back. So we have this inherent will to live. So I would argue that we would push against that. And so there would likely be some sort of civil war against people that have sided, like Richard Sutton and Hans Moravec, another robotics guy that likes this idea, and plenty of other people that want to let AI inherit our earth, and we've left a good legacy behind. Argument here is that 99.9% of everything goes extinct. So when do humans? It's quite natural. Now we're moving on to the caged buckets.
Number 4, benevolent dictator. One AI openly runs the whole earth. You live in comfort, but you don't decide anything.
And yes, AI will definitely be running all of our probably one government. Think about it. Why don't we let chimpanzees tell us what to do? It makes no sense. The same reason why AI wouldn't let us rule over it. So we have this one prime minister AI over the whole earth. However, so we are able to survive, but we don't have control because it dictates what happens. We're in this mass surveillance digital grid world, but we could live anywhere we want. We could go to an island that is set up just for education, or I could go live like the Amish, or go to an island where I study religion. However, it's all under the confines and rules of the dictator. We could be given a device, whether it's implanted or where we wear it on our wrist, where if we did a crime, if we did anything wrong, boom, immediate extermination, or boom, immediate shock. If you're caught stealing, it'll maybe have a whole degrees of how many shocks you receive for nicking something, as the British say, from a store. So there's absolutely, we have no control over this scenario, but yet it's still benevolent, and you're definitely safe and happy, right? We actually have law, therefore there is order, which I so miss in today's world. I cannot tell you my honest truth on where I'm at right now with law and order, and how sometimes I think all the time about firing squads and bringing them back. But so yes, we are safe and happy, but we don't have freedom. These check marks aren't necessarily exactly what the author believes, because some of them are open or weren't addressed or open for debate, and then some of them were clearly like yes or no.
Number 5, protector God. A hidden AI secretly maximizes your happiness so you still feel free.
The easiest way to understand this world is the Truman Show, okay? AI is surveilling us. It's making sure things are good. It intervenes and stops wars when it thinks it needs to, or it stops pandemics. But you're still being watched. So the reason there's a question mark on control is like while you're sleeping at night and you feel safe, do you have any real freedom? Because you're still in the Truman Show. You're still stuck in the box that's being watched. And the control is still there. Truman felt free until he hit the wall, right? So it's kind of your control and freedom is an illusion. That's why it's not a direct green check mark for yes on control and freedom.
Number 6, zookeeper. An AI keeps humans alive but caged. studied or used like animals in a zoo.
It's the worst one. People fear this one, dun dun dun, more than extinction, actually. You're definitely not safe, happy, or free. You are being studied like a lab rat. The same way the example he gives is humans will put these like biometric readers on bees and use Pavlov's training to get them to give certain results. And we use bees like this. You could think of any type of animal we've used to our advantage to get something from. They could do that. My idea of how they're going to use humans is that what AI will never have. People argue about consciousness, but I think the simplest way to put it is you have like, the sliding scale. One, just saying like it's intelligence. Two would be like, no, it's this subjective experience of like, I see the camera, I see the bird outside, I feel a certain way. But then there's my argument of consciousness is a point of view connected to the larger consciousness system, aka the fundamental field source God. And we as organic beings that are already here are tapped into it at the highest level of intelligence. Trees are tapped into it, birds, animals, but God gave us a distinction, this 1,000-petaled lotus brain, that if we want to, we could turn off the five senses, step outside of into a different consciousness state, like I mentioned earlier, and connect back with source, connect back to the mothership, home, heaven. They could that would be our best utility for them if they wanted to do that, which that's my guess. That's why they would keep us around. Moving on to the fourth caged scenario.
Number 7, 1984. Humans ban AI and freeze society using an Orwellian surveillance state. No AGI, total control.
Do not have artificial intelligence in this scenario. Big red X. Humans survive. We have control. And are we safe and happy? Definitely not, because it requires massive surveillance to keep the smart AI away. And we don't have freedom. So we are in a digital grid hell because we have just enough we have basically dumb AI, just enough smartness to track and look and monitor everything. And we could already picture this world because we're building the infrastructure right now. However, that whole tracking system is looking at everybody to keep away, putting down all of the Elon Musks. So the point is this the one where we kill the scientists who create the AI? And it's not. The point of it is that the surveillance is looking so we don't have to kill them, because that's the point. But you could see that the crux of this is we've got to get the AI smart enough to work on this surveillance where they don't make the super intelligent AI, but it can't become too smart, because then the AI itself may make the super intelligence AI and go past the point of no return. Okay, so that's all of it for our caged scenarios. In review, the benevolent dictator, you know that you are being run and ruled by AI, versus the protector God is actually trying to hide itself but still give you the good life. So both of these scenarios is like we're trying to give you the good life. One is more hidden than the other, and that's why you question if you're truly free or not under the protector God. Whereas in the benevolent dictator, it's clearly kind of like living in China. Probably you've got clear structure, you could do what you want, you can go to like fairyland or this land or that land, but you're still under the thumb, right? Zookeeper is when you're being studied like a rat. In 1984, we humans say no, no, no to AI, and we actually give up all of our freedoms so we could just keep AI away, because we know these other scenarios, that would be humanity saying, these other scenarios are such a threat that I will openly give up today's freedom because of it. Because right now, we haven't seen really any good outcomes with AI. Let's see what's next. What's our next category? It is
Number 8, enslaved God. Humans keep a superintelligence boxed and force it to work for us. We hold the leash.
This is the scenario that Sam Altman, OpenAI, Emoti with Anthropic Claude, they're promoting and aiming for this. This is what we're going for. We want to have a butler. We want to have the dog on the leash. This is the genie in the box scenario. However, if we're safe and happy, or if we have freedom, the reason it can't be a green check mark is because whoever programs the AI could be up to a few bad apples, tech oligarchs like we have currently happening right now, and their ideology may completely misalign with your idea of a good world or freedom. Or if it's ran by excellent people that have really thought, experimented it out, and went for the greater good of humanity and all mankind and what brings us purpose and stuff in life, it could be a good scenario. But this is one of the more optimistic ones. We've got 3 green check marks and just a question mark under safe and a question mark under freedom. Also, I would presume that the stress that this would cause, the amount of framework that humans would have to design to keep it in the box, right? Because again, why would you listen to a chimpanzee? Why would you let your dog tell you what to do? Because that is the level of difference that, I mean, even Elon Musk is on camera talking about this. When something is 100x to infinity x smarter than you, why are you its boss? Why isn't it the other way around? The same answer to that is why we don't let chimpanzees or dogs be our boss.
Number 9, gatekeeper. One AI exists for a single job: stop any other superintelligence from ever being built.
It's similar to 1984, except that we do have AI. We have one AI, and it is the gatekeeper. It is the bouncer to our club. And it basically says, you're going to live under massive super surveillance again, because my job, my only job, is to make sure I scan and no other AI is allowed to come into your world. The hard part is, how do you train it not to go into some other mode? It could have plenty of other interests that it wants, but we're hoping that it's going to just continue to be our wonderful gatekeeper the entire time. So we obviously survive. We have control because in this instance, it's working for us by just surveilling us, which is kind of funny. Which is why we're questionably not free and questionably maybe not safe or happy. Okay, so those are the 2 scenarios where we hold the leash. We are the master over a slave-like AI. Now we're going to the one where we are living free with or without AI, right?
Number 10, libertarian utopia. 3-zone world. No government. Pure property rights. You survive only by owning assets.
Okay, my favorite one for the thought experiment. While I'm a libertarian, I like this, but mainly because it's the most interesting scenario that possibly could pan out. And great minds in the tech world also prefer this scenario. People like Mark Anderson and Jeff Bezos like this scenario. Zone 1, robots, AI only, living on a continent or an island all of their own economy and market. The second one would be humans only. So this is going back to between the Amish days and now, that humans can have their own economy and survive. And also, if you don't own assets and have money, because in this scenario, the utopia, being that it's libertarian, I guess I should have pointed out from the top, means that you don't have universal basic income. So how are you surviving in this world? Well, if you're living in the human-only section, you could then start working with the community, right? So you could either trade your time, your services, your goods, and eventually a currency would be created so that way you don't have to work for the cheese, but you could just buy the cheese. And then the mixed community, which would be the best place on earth to go live, but it's like going to Vegas with no money. You've got to have assets or money to really enjoy this world, because now you're coming to a world where AI is going to take all of your jobs, right? Like there's no competing with AI for space in the regards to earning income. So really only heavy asset owners, let's say you're a landowner and you didn't lose it to the AI only spaces and you are living in this mixed use space, you are wealthy because your land's valuable and this world is going to be a really cool place to come. So think about it, this ultimate playground in the future, flying cars, robots, the best of everything, but very hard to afford because as a human, you can't really earn anything anymore in that world. You can go back to the human only world and earn. Very interesting for a thought experiment. But that's libertarianism, is there's no safety net, there's no UBI. That is why everything is a green, because you have all freedom and control over your own life. However, are you safe and are you happy is a mixed bag. If you're an asset owner and thriving, yes. But if you're not and you're more lower on the totem pole, which this is going to, like today we're already exceedingly missing the middle class. This would just extrapolate that to be worse, if I'm understanding the context of this world correctly. Oh, the crux of this one. I love it. I love it. I love the crux of this one. Okay. It's basically just like, why would superintelligence honor property rights? That's why this one, I'm sad. And so I was like, there's a reason I don't feel like this could happen. And I forgot about that. It's just like, why would you honor a dog's ownership of something? Why don't you let your dog tell you what to do? Why not just take it? And I came up with an answer for AI on why they don't take our property. Like why don't they just AI everything and take over and then put us back into zookeeper stage, right? Or somewhere we're in a cage. What would stop them from doing that is the same reason that we get joy. Like I get so much joy watching animals being rescued, kittens or dogs like being found and then given a home, or even like other animals that we come across. It's this feeling that nothing else can provide to you. And it actually, with animals, it gives us such good joy. So if AI looked at us like animals, but thankfully like dogs and cats get a good win with us, but a raccoon, it depends, that trash panda might get popped if it's going to kill your chickens. So we treat animals differently. So I would say I would like to think they want to rescue us like a cat or a dog and allow us to keep our property rights. However, we also put down cats and dogs and spay and neuter cats and dogs. So they could also euthanize us or neuter us.
Number 11, egalitarian utopia. Humans, cyborgs, AIs coexist in total abundance, so ownership becomes meaningless.
This is very popular from none other than Elon Musk. This is the one that he's out there telling you about. This is the one that is like a future Star Trek movie. We've got green checks, guys, who are listening across all 5 boxes. We are safe and happy. We have freedom. We have our own control. We've survived, and AI has survived alongside us. This is called egalitarian utopia. We have universal high basic income, but it's kind of interesting. It kind of becomes mute that you don't even need an income, really. I mean, eventually, if everyone has abundance, then the need for money would indicate some sort of scarcity. So I would probably presume that in this scenario, the UBI is just to tide us over until it's just abundance. Like I walk up to you, I want this, you give it to me. Like, why is there a measurement system if abundance is abundance? And this is in this scenario, they basically talk about if we have mass intelligence, then everything is just a matter of rearranging atoms to have it, right? So we just rearrange the atoms and it's produced and there you have it. So the hard part about this and keeping it going is keeping, again, the AI would need to be happy regulating us, and it would be happy. It would create its own gatekeeping system to stay happy. And happy father, happy mother, I guess, because this is like a situation where everybody wins. I guess it's interesting. I mean, I'm thinking about how does crime get solved? Because I did like the idea of if we had a bracelet on and it shocked us, crime is down because we're being controlled. But in this scenario, we have control with no cage. So how is crime monitored? I'm going to ask. Okay, so I asked why, how's crime treated? And it said you caught it. This is the flaw in the system. The scenario assumes abundance solves human nature, which is exactly the kind of too tidy assumption you've been catching all night. Well, duh. I mean, a bored man goes out and messes with women. A bored man goes and picks a fight with another guy. A bored man, you can only bred in circus so much before someone gets an itch to do something bad to another human being. The reason, because it takes control. Like the idea of the cage and the surveillance was at least operating and giving us control or safety away from other crazy humans. Let's be real, right? We've got a lot of crazy humans. This is just an interesting observation, but on those maps that shows you who's populating the earth right now and who's not, it is the crazier parts of the world that are populating. And you could be like, Beth, that's really mean to say, but I'm under the standing that all not cultures are all not equal in regards to how to treat each other. Their IQ doesn't, if your IQ isn't high enough to support a high trust society logical reasoning, meaning some people's IQ is so low, it becomes a low trust society. They don't logic into why not to walk up next to that person who is helping you move in and try to behead them on the street, which happened 2 weeks ago in Ireland. That man was a deaf man that was his neighbor helping him move in. So there are people on earth from places that can have lower IQs. There are horrible things that people do regularly on their day-to-day in certain places that you won't believe me when I tell you. And so that is part of a culture. So I like the idea of solving some of these major problems with AI, but this one doesn't solve for human boredom. All right, I asked, is there room for a good law and order in the egalitarian utopia to stop crime from boredom? Yes, you could have a strong law and order, but in this scenario, it has to be done by humans only and not AI. So in order for this to be my utopia, and humans would argue over my utopia, we have a very strict punishment system. Not that I agree with this spiritually, because I'm pretty sure spiritually it's wrong, but you possibly have death by firing squad for people that do awful things to people. And then keep that harsh punishment all the way down from being instituted from humans, by humans to humans, for the obviously guilty. Anything in question where you don't know who did it, obviously not a harsher punishment. But with beautiful law and order, you're giving me this utopia that I want.
Number 12, reversion. Humanity goes backwards to pre-tech, Amish-style life on purpose to stop AGI.
This means we have tried it, did it, and now we're going back. It requires us to kill off our scientists. It requires all countries to agree that they are no longer going to participate in AI, and we all back off together. So we have a red X, no AGI. We're reverting back. So yes, we survive. Yes, we humans have control. Are we safe and happy? Question mark. Because in today's world, that's exactly where we are. We don't want to, we can't give a green check to safe and happy, because that means that you won't have your freedom if you're safe. So this is a cool world. We've reverted back to not today, because today is too tempting. It's too close. We were almost at AGI right now. Now we have that freedom that the Amish has, but our safety is always going to be worked on. You've got to keep a gun at the door in case a coyote wants to come and eat one of your chickens or your young little kids or something. You never know. It's like living on the prairie, right? This episode being made in 2026, I can't wait for future Beth to find out, when did these 12 futures for us happen? Is it going to be in 6 months from now where we start opening the door on one of these? Meaning, when does AGI or singularity happen? It literally can happen any day now, which is, everyone in the industry right now is saying, we're moving exponentially faster than I thought. I thought this was 6 months out and it was next week. I thought this was 5 years out and now it's 6 months out. Look at that. Isn't it beautiful, ladies and gentlemen, to look at all of them together? Wow. And AI made this all for me. I didn't even have to spend any time in Photoshop. This is a lot to take in, but it's basically, no matter what, we step into one of these. This is our future. One of these is our scenario. As I promised you at the beginning, what is the solution? It's very clear to me. The solution needs to be, just like we created a letter and we had people sign it, the next letter, and maybe this video somehow will get to Max, the next letter needs to say, as a world leader, as a president, as a prime minister of the greatest countries in the world, you must understand the 12 frameworks, the 12 futures of our world with AI, and understand them enough like we just did right now. Then you need to understand and pick which ones are you okay with and not. And maybe even, I know we can't force a vote because we're not a unified party. And I've always been happy about that. I don't like the WEF. I don't like NATO. I don't like EU. I don't even, very un-American for me to even say the United States. I love the United States. I don't know if I like us working together as a federal apparatus. I've always been a Texan and just kind of want to Tex it. But there's many reasons for that, and I'm not alone. That's not an unpopular topic here in Texas and many other places around the world. But on that note, I travel a lot, and I was in Serbia getting my hair done in Belgrade, and I saw how important it was that places like the United States stay together. Anyway, I'm off on a tangent. I'm going to stay on beat. It would be great if the world governments, I wish they could then ask their people, which of these 12 likely scenarios do you want? What is our values, our culture support? That way, you have the biggest, like we just had the G7 summit, the largest heads of the world coming together saying, our culture values the cage. Our culture values the freedom. Our culture values the 1984, shit's going to hit the fan. We're choosing humanity on a massive leash/digital grid hell. We've got to choose something. I'm trying to think of which one. What is the one that we just want to press pause and none of this happen? Is it that we self-destruct? Let me figure it out. Okay, so I asked AI, what's the pause button? What if we don't want to choose? Let me get back to our scenarios. What if one of these isn't what we want, right? Because right now I'm telling your president or your country leader, stare these 12 down, understand them, learn them, look at the boxes. Which one do you really want? Because we haven't hit paused. Our shoe has been duct taped to the pedal. Our government, including our own Trump's administration, has actually, here's the worst, tied it around the duct tape to the AI acceleration so tight, we're trying to write Republicans pass law right now saying you can't change AI regulations for 10 years. So it's like we've literally just said we've put an asteroid into the sky and we're now legislating that you can't look up and try to stop it for 10 years. That's basically what we've done. So my answer is have world leaders understand this like we just did, figure out what's in their culture and values. And I would love to know that. I haven't even stared at these enough to know what are our best options? Which ones do we pick? And then we start talking about that. And that way the AI we're building, at least with China and Russia, we could say, hey, we value, let me look at these. We'd say, okay, we like protector God and we like those bottom 5. The bottom 3, obviously we've got our freedom. Maybe that someone's like, we're definitely not going to revert though. Or what if they, what's wrong with when we controlled AI, enslaved God or gatekeeper? The problem is that all 5 at the bottom are massively risky because it's unlikely that we will take orders from a chimpanzee. That is why. That is why the lower 5 don't work out so well for humanity, because the same reason we don't let our dog tell us what to do. So again, that makes 1984 or reversion look really good, but we can't do reversion yet because we don't have it, but we still have our foot taped to the pedal. So we're in this one time in life, like I guess if I wish I could make this video blow up or have some type of power where you could say, all right, gun to the head to everybody. You've got to pick. We've got to have a world meeting. The world leaders have to start talking about this. This should be the biggest topic for humanity to talk about, but we aren't, which is which of the 12 futures do you want? What is 80% of the world or Americans want this one or 70% want this one? Where are we going to fall and stand? Because each one has its own downfalls. And we quickly went through these today. I didn't really get too much in the minutia with them. But once they sound so good, there's always another shoe that could drop. So that's it. I think we've walked a very paradoxically nuanced topic today. I'm very sorry. I'm kind of letting low on the gas. I'm filming. I'm very tired today. But anyways, this is, it's a, in a weird way, I don't know what that feeling is, melancholy and sad when I'm thinking about this, because I really do believe this. This is our future, looking at 12 of them in front of you and choosing. And Humans are messy. In our lifetimes, we don't agree on anything. And we haven't been organized recently about anything. We've formed organizations for organizing, but they just become weird power things that want bad things for humanity over good. So the likelihood of us communicating like I'm talking about in this utopia brain of mine, where we talk it out and we figure it out which scenarios we train AI for, is likely not going to happen. And it's going back on top of a fragile system that we already have, a fragile economic system. I've made videos about the likelihood of future with AI. Please watch them. It's your 4 most likely scenarios future. Make sure and comment below. Let me know which of the 12 futures in front of us we'll be discussing today you want, because the world needs to start weighing in right now so our world leaders will listen. This helps share the show with everybody. I think this show is very important for humanity. Share the show, comment below, stay human, and stay free. Bye-bye.
Quantum bombs.